I would love nothing more than to hear the words Brian Cox Academy Award nominee. Sadly, it will not be for this film. This is Little Wing. This is available on Paramount Plus with audio description, and this is the point where I ask you to click subscribe and take the risk on me. You know, I'm taking a chance on you. I don't just show my videos to everybody. I mean, I do, but you're special. I put the algorithm in just for you to see this video. This film also stars Kelly Riley, who is long overdue for an Emmy nomination for her performance in Yellowstone. So this features actors who deserve better things than Little Wing. Little Wing is an odd film. I'm just gonna say that. It's a weird little film. It's the kind of film that I wonder how it got made, how it got pitched with somebody like, oh, we didn't have a sports movie, but I want a sport that we haven't made a movie about yet. And people are like, that's not possible. Yes, it is. Figure it out. And then somebody came back and they were like, sir, I found out there are no movies about pigeon racing. Done. Let's make it. And then Little Wing was born. So it starts off with a moody, angsty teenage girl who's upset because her parents are getting divorced. There's this really sort of unnecessary sequence at the top of the film where like we get to see another girl who's talking about like Shakespeare, and she's like, so and so, I wish this story was about her. Unfortunately, it's not. It's about me. And then like her inspirational person is like Britney Spears, and she reads off some dumb Britney Spears quote, and you get an idea that this girl does, zero were given that day. You know what I'm saying? Like zero. It's just, she does not care. And it all has to do with this divorce, and she hates her parents for it and her mom, and she's not moving. She refuses to move. Her mom's trying to sell the house because she can't afford it, and she has a brother who's basically doesn't speak. This is what, by the way, this is a cautionary tale for parents thinking about divorcing. You probably won't after watching this film. You'll be like, God damn, we're really messing up our kids. This kid's mute and the other girl turns into like a robber. So don't get divorces is the moral of the story. I really don't know. Just nothing works out well for this family after they're like, oh, we're getting a divorce. Everything's going terrible. Little girl gets from randomly, there's a scene where it flashes back to her finding out that her parents are getting divorced, and she tries to work her way of getting a phone out of it. And so when her mom's friend says he's got a gift for her in the car, and he brings it in, and it's not a phone, and it's pigeons, she's like, what the hell is this? And so, I mean, like, it's so random. I honestly did not know what this movie was about. I mean, like, as soon as the pigeons came in, I was like, oh, Little Wing. Of course, this movie's about birds. But they weren't just birds. They're racing pigeons. So, after this point, the film gets, like, really deep into racing pigeons. So, like... So she's got these birds that she doesn't want, and she's been given, and she goes over to her friend's house. Adam has a big crush on her. Adam is he's hitting puberty, and he's like, I like girls, even the ones I've been friends with all these years. And he seems to know a lot about racing pigeons. He's like, yeah, they're racing, and it's just it's so weird. I know this film takes place in Portland, but I feel like if I go to Portland, I'm not just going to walk around. Everybody's going to be like, oh yeah, pigeon racing. It's really big here in Portland. Yeah, we do this every year. Like, but when she brings it up, it's like she has instantly become some sort of expert overnight in racing pigeons from like her minimal amount of research. And she's like, she starts scheming around racing pigeons. And she brings racing pigeons up in conversations, and everybody just is like, yeah, totally, this makes sense. I've had this conversation before a number of times. Thank you so much. I love talking about racing pigeons. Well, what it's like, it's a film that never wants to talk about the fact that racing pigeons is, like, definitely a hobby that is on the sort of external of hobbies. Like, it's on the outside. I don't wanna call those people weirdos because they're not. It's just what you do is not like they're talking about it like it's like Dungeons& and Dragons, like, it's something that, like, everyone does. Like, you can walk into a room and be like, "Who here plays D&D?" "Oh, yeah, we do." Yeah, like, it's like, "Who here raises pigeons?" "Oh, yeah, my uncle does, I do. Oh, I really want to. Oh, it looks cool." Like, it's just like it's very, very weird. She ends up finding out that in Portland is the pigeon for all pigeons, who has sired pigeons and has won and wins races. And man, this pigeon could be worth so much that she could buy her own house, so she doesn't have to move. 'Cause she doesn't really understand how things work. I don't know, she's dumb and she's like 13, so she thinks she can buy her house from her mom, so she doesn't have to move and then just live there. Um, okay. So she goes and steals this pigeon from this guy, which is how we get Brian Cox into this film. In case you're wondering, well, where's Brian Cox? He's not the little girl. Um, and then Brian Cox is like, "You stole my bird," and then they, of course, form like an unbreakable bond by the end of the film because it's an inspirational sports drama. And she learns about pigeon racing and actual pigeon racing and actually like the joy of pigeon racing. I swear to God, this is the dumbest movie, but I love Brian Cox. So I bought into it. The more he was into it, I was like, "I love Brian Cox. I 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 love Brian Cox." And just over and over, he just kept telling me this. And he was making the film better. He is my favorite actor, and he inherently makes everything better. So, I'm just letting you know that my opinion might be skewed a little bit. I don't know if your kids will like this or not. It's a very weird film. It's a film that has these weird flashbacks where she imagines like beating things with baseball bats, so she's not actually beating with baseball bats. Um, she just kind of goes about her day to race pigeons and hopes that they come back. Like, she doesn't really know what she's doing, and I don't think the film really did that good of a job of explaining. Anyway, the audio description here, though, is okay. It does have to pay attention to birds flying around, so there's something. It does have sort of like nonverbal, I'll call them characters, because she has two pigeons, uh, Charlie and Juliet, and then there's the pigeon that's Brian Cox's pigeon. I can't remember its name. It's not nearly as cool as Charlie or Juliet. Uh, so, um, and it's the big one. So, yeah, there's a lot of that in here. You know, if you're looking for something family friendly, this is family friendly. It does sort of deal with a lot of heavy thematic issues. I don't know how young you want to go here as a parent with this film. I mean, she does steal some birds and sell them to the Russian mafia. So, maybe not like, I would say like 7. I'd say PG for sure. Trying to gauge that for your for your audience. It's sort of, don't just assume. Don't put your 4-year-old in front of here and be like, "Oh, she likes birds." This is not really that film. Sorry. I mean, like, there's a character in here who has cancer, and you got to deal with that. There's a lot of conversations you're probably going to end up having. So, and like I said, the divorce is not necessarily played like a cheerful, wonderful experience for everybody involved. And I'm not sure mom comes out on top until she actually takes her daughter shopping to the mall, which I think is probably the wrong message to send to kids. So this is on Paramount Plus. You can check it out or not. But it does have Brian Cox. So for me, it gets Brian Cox points. I don't know. That's the Brian Cox sound. That's like, it's the leveling up of the Brian Cox level up. So I'm going to give Little Wing a C. I'm going to keep it there. Yeah. I don't want to, I don't like giving Brian Cox bad grades. Um, I will If he was in Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, there's only just so far that movie's going to be able to go up, even with him in it. But yeah, so Little Wing. See, check it out if you want. If not, that's fine. Thanks for subscribing. I know you did it. You clicked subscribe because I asked you to. And let me know what sports movie you like. Did you like Mighty Ducks as a kid? What did you like? I know we had some weird films back in the day, but at least the kids were interested in the sports before they got the magical powers of being in the sport, before they learned how to play them. Like Little Big League and Rookie of the Year. Those kids are actually interested in baseball. So with Angels in Outfield, they were interested in this girl's not interested in pigeon racing at all. She's just given some pigeons, and suddenly she's an expert in pigeons. So it's just weird. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the other side.